Fortunate to have David from the CEO of Philly Shipyard up a little bit later today. But right now, delighted to have Ryan Lynch. Ryan is known to many of you. He's spent 20 years in the maritime business. He's done everything from private equity, infrastructure investing, to chartering, to commodities, to ship owning. And so he's kind of pulling it all together at Hanwha. And he has the task today of putting some numbers around what Senator Kelly talked about, sort of what the Capex requirement is, and really what the opportunity is for ship owners and investors in this room to participate in this incredible revitalization. Ryan, take it away.
That's quite the introduction, and first, thank you to the whole Marine Money team. You know, having this chance to speak to what both is a passion of mine, coming from 4 generations in American maritime, looking to the future and being there with Hanwha. This stage is exceptional, as you all no doubt know, and with that, we'll go right off to it. First, I'll give you a brief on Hanwha Shipping. So Hanwha Shipping is a ship owner within the Hanwha ecosystem. That's important to know because we are not just a shipbuilder. As Sal mentioned, as Senator Kelly knows, sometimes it's not the building concern, but also the ownership and the demand side. So linking those ecosystems together is where we sit today, and that's how we feel we as Hanwha can advance American maritime dominance. For the next, this year. So I'll give you some slides here. So stuff on Hanwha, I won't bore you with it, but please come reach out. It's a very exciting company. We are certainly one of the largest and most advanced in terms of our reach of maritime. Senator Kelly's bill, we really are hats off to him and all of his staff for writing what we think is a seminal legislative concern for our future. You know, we all in this room at one stage in our life are coming to America, whether it's with cargo on our ships, with the financial markets, publicly listing, or private placements with the help of the Marine Money team. A little plug there for y'all. America needs to be a nation of maritime. I'm standing here because I was a part of it, and this is a summary of what we judge to be the principal concerns about the bill. Now, there's a lot of writing there. Again, please come over to me. We're going to jump right into the numbers here, but this is the background. It touches all aspects of training, of shipyard investment, of ship ownership, and sort of making sure that there's a good on-ramp and runway. This isn't thought up out of nowhere. It's really a lot of very thoughtful discussion has gone into it. And I really would encourage, as Senator Kelly invoked and invited, discussion with his staff in terms of making this bill formidable to changes in the future. It's important. We've done it, and I could say we're very proud to have those discussions, and I really would encourage you all to do the same. Okay, so again, a lot of numbers here, but there's about 15 items that are authorized for eventual appropriation. Now, in congressional terms, you set the policy, you defer it to committee, and you send it to budget. What that means is that there's going to be a lot of changes, perhaps, in the negotiating strategy. It'll encapsulate, we believe the bill will encapsulate what ends up USTR, executive order findings, maritime action plan. It's a very complex system of equations, so we want to encourage y'all, reach out to your congressional folks, reach out to your agencies, reach out to your local administrators. Everybody needs to know what your bias and what your viewpoint on American maritime dominance. How can you make it happen? It's important that this is a community action and that it's a heavy lift, so let's do it together. But important here are some aspects. So in the red, you'll see up there, these are the authorizations for ship ownership concerns. Now, whether that's financing under the traditional Title 11, or if that's the strategic commercial fleet. You'll note we put the percentages of overall authorization there just to demonstrate the commitment to that strategic commercial fleet. You know, generally, at least we at Hanwha see vessels built in Korea and potential transference of capabilities to our shipyard in Philadelphia. That strategic commercial fleet is going to be the mechanism to which we can convey that capability transfer. So it is important that that 55% number of overall appropriation or authorization, it is important and it is impactful. But again, questions on any of this, please come over to me. Happy to walk you through it. Obviously, we love these kind of numbers. But this is the budget, okay? And there's also a different avenue of the budget concern with respect to the National Defense Authorization Act. We have a great team at Hanwha that can walk you through every acronym there, and I really would encourage the conversation, but different time. Again, a lot of writing here, but what we're just trying to highlight to you all is there are certain sections, the federal ship financing, the operating agreements, and the eligibility for loan guarantees. Now, different aspects of you will each have seen or understand loan guarantees, tax equity subsidies, operating agreements if you're participating in any of the MARAD programming, as I know some of you are. Broadly, they're taking the best aspects of the previous bipartisan and bicameral legislation that has been passed into law, whether it's the IRA Act on the loan guarantees or the TSP program, and involving that into practice. So we see that as to be very important. We've seen some good wins. Let's operationalize it with export-capable ships. And so that's really what we're saying here. And again, we'll let y'all, anybody come over to us, we'll talk through it, but very important that you know that there's good precedent for the success of the clauses that are outlined. And that's important because although this is a heavy lift that's going to require each and every one of us to support our Congress folks, there is good precedent for its successes. Some of the more tax-centric items here. Now, very important is that the gross income, the bottom one is where I'll start because income tax is a prescient. Gross income tax shall not be paid on the subsidy fees. Very meaningful in terms of if you're worried about your tax nexus to the United States, moving your ownership from flag of convenience territory to a U.S. entity, finding a partner with a U.S. ship operator to constitute that 50501 citizen company, you're worried about taxes. And that's what this bill also addresses. So it is very holistic. Now, I know some of you will see these figures and tell me where I'm wrong, but what we've done here is we've estimated what's called a constrained optimization function. So I've outlined to you the bill. I've outlined to you I will outline to you the needs base, the budget, and now we have cost to run the ships. Now, these are estimates. I want to encourage that. They're for constrained optimization function purposes only. But we want to let you know we are working on the mariner training concern. We're working on how to advance the production capabilities and, of course, that ownership capability. But take these as just indicative figures for now. Promise it'll make sense in a minute. Mariner training benefits, very important here that we want to highlight. The strike of that nonprofit means that private industry can build that mariner training ecosystem. So we really think it's important that each and every person in this room that has run a ship or has an idea of how to be a captain or master or chief engineer of a ship, give your opinion. Let's talk through it. Come to us at Hanwha. We need to operationalize this. We are leading with our feet on it, and we encourage a holistic approach. This is cargo preference. And again, another very holistic view by the administration that there is incentive to use U.S. ships contemplated in the Act. Just highlighting some key milestones in the USTR, and this is the executive order. Very important. We got some deadlines coming up that we really think are going to constitute and formalize the approach, and really, again, reach out to your executives. I'll go right to the vessel demand. Okay, so I told you about the constrained optimization function. What you have here is the output of that function. Now, what we have done is spend a lot of time on crude and LNG. They are itemized within the SHIPS Act as key strategic focal points. Of course, crude oil, we export a lot of crude oil. I'll get to the numbers exactly in a minute. LNG, the same. What we've done here is we've taken assumptions on the heavy lift, the cable vessels, the MPP, the containers, ro-ros, and bulks. No disrespect to the industry themselves. My focus is always gas and tankers. That's what we do at Hanwha. Very, very good at it, as well as containers. But there is an installed capacity of some of these vessels within the United States fleet. So LNG and crude, a little bit more novel, crude to a lesser degree. But what we've done here is we've taken this operating cost, what we call a difference in difference, simulated it against the capacity constraints, 10, 20 minimum, maximum 250 overall. And we've looked at a rules-based system of constraining the budget all the way to the right, the demand for ships based on the outlined parameters, and of course the constraints set forth by the legislation. Turns out it can all work, and I'll get into it. Here's your LNG. So LNG is meaningful and important because it's being touched on by the USTR actions as well as the Ships for America Act. So within the construct, you have a US flag, US owned Ships for America entity, and then you have the US-built capabilities. Now, we at Hanwha are exploring the US-built capabilities with our partner yard at Philadelphia and partner yard at Hanwha Ocean in Okpo, Korea. That's a little bit more complex. There's a lot of labor training that needs to go on. There's a lot of skill transfer that needs to go on. I promise you we're doing it, and I would look forward to those conversations when you're ready. But in this room, that US flag fleet, the orange at the top there, it's a lot. It's a heavy lift. So we've simulated the outcome on LNG, what's called FID or COD date, out to 2033. Those are announced projects in the public domain generally, or at least within the FERC domain and DOE authorization. We've looked at the statutory guideline on percentage, the years since date, which is the prima facie concern, and then the number of LNGs that need to be installed at that date. So under the American Ships Act, the Ships for America Act, you get to a number of about 11 LNG carriers of the USA in 2028. You'll see in the USTR actions, all the way to the right, it's a little lower in terms of 4 or 5, or 5 or 6. We've taken our assumptions up there, and again, happy to send this around to anybody. It's a lot of numbers on there. But the point here is that we are going to continue exporting LNG in the United States. Why should we not do it on American bottoms, whether built, owned, or taxable incidents, with American mariners? Moving on to crude, same analysis being done. What's important here is that crude, of course, everyone's aware there's differentiable sizes. So do we do this on VLCC? Do we do this on Suezmaxes, or the traditional workhorse, the Aframax? Up for debate, up for discussion. It'll be subject to, as Senator Kelly said, that test of economic viability by the Maritime Administrator when they do get installed. So right here, we've run a differentiable scenario. My analyst team was very helpful in terms of analyzing what the export capacity of the United States is, and of course, what the differentiable cargo shipping interests are. So we have VLs, Suez Aframaxes, no double counting. We create an amalgamated ship, up to 5 to 10 ships in the first 10 years. So quite meaningful in terms of the lift of what this program needs to undertake. Same thing on containers. We did a little bit less of a drawdown, only because it's admittedly not my area of expertise. But we've done an analysis based on trans-Pacific routing. Of course, the Panama Canal invokes quite a lot more complexity in terms of voyage scheduling. So this is simplistic. Again, happy to share it and discuss with you all. But you see here, quite a lot is needed. On the LNG, here we go. This is your implied marginal demand based on announced US projects. These US projects are important because they have a phase-in, they have a ramp rate, and they have a condition of FID. Now, you'll have known in the USTR findings under Annex 4, there was a condition of US-centric vessels in one way, shape, or form to be a condition of your export authorization. So that's important because if we as Hanwha, we as a community believe we can deliver US vessels, then we would want that export authorization to be conditioned upon using those vessels. That would be cargo preference in one way, shape, or form. So all of these projects are currently operating under the auspices that they do not require such authorization. To be discussed in terms of policymaking, what will be the outcome? Those are their, yeah, and then here's products. So the one thing in the room that we haven't spoken about is the product tankers. They're not itemized uniquely within the Ships for America Act, partially because there's some interactive with MARAD programming. But we highlight this up here because we build product tankers at Philadelphia, MRs. They're great 50,000 deadweight. America exports about 250 of those a month. It's very meaningful. And that's an easy way to start ramping your capability and your building capacity in the United States. So in summary, we haven't included it because it is already programmed within the United States fleet, but we have sort of just highlighted it, that this is meaningful, that this could be a very easy place to start ramping in the capabilities of the United States. We really would encourage everybody to sort of look at that, come to our yard. And that's all from the number side. So it's quite a lot. I'll fast forward a little bit just there to keep that on the screen for y'all. LNG, our favorite. What we really want to say here today is that although it's hard, although very few people could do it on their own, we really would encourage you all to reach out to us at Hanwha. We have builders, we have an owner, we have an LNG export facility. We're going to continue to invest in this United States enterprise. We are seeking to operationalize the American maritime dominance, and we really want to lead with our feet. So come to us. We want to talk about it. We want to be a part of your discussions. We want to be a part of your community, and we want to be a part of this advancing this dominance that once was and will be again. Thank you all.